Quincy Delight Jones Jr. Lifestyle and net worth. Quincy Delight Jones Jr., born on March 14, 1933, is an American record producer, songwriter, composer, arranger, and film and television producer. His career spans 72 years, with 28 Grammy Awards won out of 80 nominations, and a Grammy Legend Award in 1992. Jones came to prominence in the 1950s as a jazz arranger and conductor, before working on pop music and film scores. He moved easily between genres, producing pop hit records for Leslie Gore in the early 1960s, including It's My Party, and serving as an arranger and conductor for several collaborations between the jazz artists Frank Sinatra and Count Basie. In 1968, Jones became the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song for The Eyes of Love from the film Banning. Jones was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Score for his work on the 1967 film In Cold Blood, making him the first African American to be nominated twice in the same year. Jones produced three of the most successful albums by pop star Michael Jackson: Off the Wall, produced in 1979, Thriller, produced in 1982, and Bad, produced in 1987. In 1985, Jones produced and conducted the charity song We Are the World, which raised funds for victims of famine in Ethiopia. In 1971, Jones became the first African American to be the musical director and conductor of the Academy Awards. In 1995, he was the first African American to receive the Academy's Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award. He is tied with sound designer Willie Burton as the second most Oscar-nominated African American, with 7 nominations each. In 2013, Jones was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as the winner, alongside Lou Adler, of the Ahmet Ertegun Award. He was named one of the most influential jazz musicians of the 20th century by Time. Quincy Jones has a net worth of approximately $500 million. He is 5 feet 6 inches tall, which is equivalent to 1.69 meters tall. That being said, let's roll. Quincy Jones' relationships and real estate. Jones has been married 3 times and has 7 children with 5 different women. He was married to Jerry Caldwell from 1957 to 1966, and they had a daughter named Jolie. He had a brief affair with Carol Reynolds, and they had a daughter named Rachel. He was later married to Swedish actress Ola Andersson from 1967 to 1974, and they had a daughter named Martina, and a son named Quincy, who also became a music producer. The day after his divorce from Andersson, Jones married American actress Peggy Lipton. They had 2 daughters, Kidada, who was born before they were married, and Rashida, both of whom became actors. Jones and Lipton divorced in 1989. He later dated and lived with German actress Nastasia Kinski from 1991 to 1995, and they had a daughter named Kenya, who became a fashion model. In 1994, rapper Tupac Shakur criticized Jones for having relationships with white women, prompting Jones's daughter, Rashida, to pen a scathing open letter in response, which was published in The Source. Jones's daughter, Kidada, developed a romantic relationship with Shakur and had been living with him for 4 months at the time of his death. In December 1986, Quincy paid $3 million for a home in Bel Air. That's the same as around $7 million today. He sold this property in 2005 for $5.4 million, after completing construction on a 25,000 square foot compound, also in Bel Air. This house today is easily worth north of $25 million to $30 million. Quincy Jones' early life. Quincy Delight Jones Jr. was born in the South Side of Chicago, Illinois on March 14, 1933, the elder of 2 sons to Sarah Francis, who died in 1999, a bank officer and apartment complex manager, and Quincy Delight Jones, a semi-professional baseball player and carpenter from Kentucky. Jones's paternal grandmother was an ex-slave from Louisville, and Jones later discovered that his paternal grandfather was Welsh. With the help of the author Alex Haley in 1972, and Latter-day Saint researchers in Salt Lake City, Jones discovered that one of his mother's ancestors was James Lanier, a relative of poet Sidney Lanier. Jones said, and I quote, "He had a baby with my great-grandmother, a slave, and my grandmother was born there, on a plantation in Kentucky." We traced this all the way back to the Laniers, the same family as Tennessee Williams. Learning that the Lanier immigrant ancestors were French Huguenots, who had court musicians among their ancestors, Jones attributed some of his musicianship to them. For the 2006 PBS television program, African American Lives, Jones had his DNA tested, and genealogists researched his family history again. His DNA revealed he is mostly African, but also has 34% European ancestry on both sides of his family. Research showed that he has English, French, Italian, and Welsh ancestry through his father. His mother's side is of West and Central African descent, specifically the Takar people of Cameroon. His mother also had European ancestry, including Lanier male ancestors who fought for the Confederacy, making him eligible for membership in the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Among his ancestors is Betty Washington Lewis, a sister of President George Washington. Quincy Jones' personal life. Jones never learned to drive, citing his involvement in a car crash at age 14 as the reason. Jones revealed that Ray Charles introduced him to heroin at 15. He is a believer in astrology. In regard to religion, he stated in February 2018 that he believes in a God that opposes the love of money, but dismisses the notion of an afterlife. He holds a negative opinion of the Catholic Church, believing it is built upon the notions of money and fear, smoke, and murder. Jones claimed to have knowledge of the truth of the Kennedy assassination, stating his belief that mobster Sam Giancana was responsible, as well as outing sexual relationships Marlon Brando had with James Baldwin, Richard Pryor, and Marvin Gaye. In the same interview, Jones stated he dated Ivanka Trump, despite expressing disdain for her father. He later apologized for the interview after a family intervention with his 6 daughters, blaming the things he said on word vomit. In 1974, Jones developed a life-threatening brain aneurysm, leading to a decision to reduce his workload to spend time with his friends and family. Since his family and friends believed Jones's life was coming to an end, they started to plan a memorial service for him. He attended his own service with his neurologist by his side, in case the excitement overwhelmed him. Some of the entertainers at his service were Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye, Sarah Vaughan, and Sidney Poitier. Jones's social activism began in the 1960s with his support of Martin Luther King Jr. Jones is one of the founders of the Institute for Black American Music, the IBAM, whose events aim to raise enough funds for the creation of a national library of African American art and music. Jones is also one of the founders of the Black Arts Festival in his hometown of Chicago. In the 1970s, Jones formed the Quincy Jones Workshops. Meeting at the Los Angeles landmark Variety Arts Center, the workshops educated and honed the skills of inner-city youth in musicianship, acting, and songwriting. Among its alumni were Alton McClain, who had a hit song with Alton McClain and Destiny, and Mark Wilkins, who co-wrote the hit song, Havin' a Love Attack, with Mandrill and became National Promotion Director for Mystic Records. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel for such amazing content.